Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, let's start, yeah. Okay, actually, you already know about simulation, yeah. When we must use simulation, when we cannot, when we cannot define the parameter of the system. For example, if we want to analyze a system and we need data about cost, yeah, and after that, when we try to go to the field, then we cannot, yeah, calculate the cost exactly. Why? Because maybe there is some uncertainty. So in the situation, we cannot, yeah, define the cost exactly. So how to solve the problem? Yes, we still can solve the problem. Yeah, we can use simulation. So we can try to simulate the cost, and after that, yeah, we can try to relate. Yeah, we can try to relate the cost to the objective function of the analysis. For example, if our objective is to, let's say, maximize the profit, then we can develop a model, yeah, to relate the cost that we already simulate, yeah, to the profit formulation, like that. So now you understand, yeah, when we must use simulation, you also understand that we cannot, again, we cannot get the best solution, yeah, using simulation, but we can choose the better condition. We can choose the better scenario. Yeah, we can choose the better formulation, yeah, using simulation. So there will be positive and negative, yeah, there will be plus and minus, yeah. The advantage or the plus is we can, yeah, we still can model the system even though there is some uncertainty. But the negative or the disadvantage is we cannot, yeah, we cannot get the best solution using simulation. But we still can get, yeah, better solution, yeah, better compared to the existing system. I mean, but before that, before we go further about simulation, and also in this subject, you will have lab work. Yeah. So after mid exam, there will be a lab work. So you need to prepare. Yeah. You need to go to DELSIM, yeah, DELSIM laboratory, yeah, for modeling and simulation, yeah, laboratory. And after that, you will have lab work around 7 sessions, yeah, after mid exam. But before that, you need to understand the theory, yeah, about the simulation. Before we go further, before we discuss further about simulation, I think you also need to know about system thinking. Why we need to discuss this? Because, yeah, when we use simulation, actually we can try to widening our perspective when we analyze a system. Why we need to widening our perspective? Because, yeah, we need to have global optimum solution. We don't want to create solution that can create another problem. Yeah. That's why we need to know about system thinking. Okay, before we go further about system thinking, also I need to know about system thinking today. And after that, next week, we'll talk about the complex system structure. Then we will use causal loop diagram approach. Actually, you already know about this, yeah, in the system modeling. I already lectured about this, but I will put again in terms of simulation. So we focus on simulation. Yeah, previously we just talked about general causal loop diagram, but now, yeah, we'll try to go in deep about causal loop diagram in simulation. Very set. I need to read first. Okay, you just write, yeah, to those who cannot settle the attendance, you just write your name and your student number in chat room. I will do it for you. And the third, we will discuss about the introduction to discrete system simulation. So actually, you can try to imagine, yeah, if we talk about, let's say, the level of water in a tank, for example, level of water in a tank, then when we fill in the water, then the level of water will increase, yeah, and the increase will be very smooth. It means that the system called as continuous system, yeah. When we open the tank, after that the level of water will decrease, then the decrease will be very smooth as well. It means that we have a continuous system. It is different if we talk about, let's say, about grade, yeah, a grade of a subject. It will be discrete, yeah, because the grade will be A minus, A over B plus, and B. So we know, yeah, we know the step of every of we know the step discretely, yeah, in the system. So in the situation we have discrete system. So here, yeah, for the first, yeah, before we simulate the continuous system, we need to know how to simulate the discrete system. So here, yeah, we will discuss upon the introduction to discrete system simulation. I will lecture about this, yeah, using a software. I think we will use two softwares, yeah. The first is we can use Microsoft Excel, because using Excel we will know the logic behind the simulation. we will know the flow behind the simulation. But after that, I will lecture as well using Python. Where we must use Python because sometimes we need to retrieve data from another sources. If like that, then it's better for us to use Python. Because for example, if we use Jupyter Notebook, I think you already installed the Jupyter Notebook, then we can go online, so we can get the data from online system like that. Besides, sometimes we need to optimize the simulation. Previously, I already explained that we cannot get optimum condition using simulation. Yes, basically like that. But if we can modify our simulation and we can try to extract the decision variable, then actually we can try to optimize it using optimization tool. Using Python, it is possible. So I will lecture about that. How to use optimization module in Python to be integrated with simulation in order to optimize our simulation system. Like that. So please be prepared. We will use Microsoft Excel and also Python. And for Python, I will use Jupyter Notebook as usual. And after that, we also need to discuss about input modeling. How to model the input. As we know, if you want to analyze a system, then we need to consider the input of the system, right? So in simulation, we need to discuss in detail about how to model the input like that. And after that, we can continue with this one, advanced Monte Carlo simulation to the and also system modeling. But now we will use Monte Carlo simulation in advance, in advanced level. We can try to integrate with some statistical distribution in order to develop our Monte Carlo simulation system like that. And also the what we call it, the case study will be slightly advanced. We will try to incorporate uncertainty factor in our system. So we will have advanced Monte Carlo simulation system like that. And after that, don't forget, if we talk about simulation, actually we try to model our system. In system modeling, you remember there are two techniques to model system. Actually three. We can model directly the system, and it will be time and cost consuming. If we try to avoid that, then we can use mathematical model or simulation. So if today we talk about simulation, actually we try to model our system. So don't forget, if we talk about modeling, don't forget to validate our model. So before we use the simulation system to analysis, we need to validate our simulation system first. After we can make sure, we make sure that our model is valid, then we can use it as the basis for the analysis. And for validation, there is some theory, there is some formula that can be used to validate our simulation system. Basically, you already understand for that. When we try to model a real system, let's say using simulation or using mathematical model, then before we use it for analysis, we need to make sure the output of the modeling, it can be from simulation or mathematical model, must fit with the output of the real system. Like that. Basically like that. But we need to have exact tool to measure the validation of our system like that. And after that, don't forget the objective of simulation is to model our system. So after we simulate, of course, we will have output. We will have output. Then we also need to know about how to interpret the output. Because as a system analyst, as system analyzer, we need to be able to interpret the output of the simulation, so we can use it for system improvement like that. So the next discussion will be output analysis. After that, you will have mid exam. It will be theory, theoretical exam, in class exam. And after mid exam, then you will have lab work. Lab work using several software simulation in DelSim laboratory. If you don't know the location of the laboratory, you go to the building in front of our campus. Then you go to second floor. There will be the sim laboratory. And in the laboratory, you will learn about FlexSim software. This is commercial software. So you can run the software in that laboratory Flexim software, and after that you will use Flexim Flexim software to conduct experiment. To conduct experiment means that using simulation we can try to develop not only one model. We can try to develop more than one model. It's called as scenario. Experimental. After that, after you run, then you can choose the best. You can choose the best scenario that will be the better solution for the system that analyzed. The question. And after that, we'll have 5 case studies. 5 case studies in that laboratory. Then at the end, you will have final exam. That will be the course lecture design for this subject. Okay, student. Before we go further, is there any question, please? Muhammad Rizki, please write your student number. I don't know. Any question, please?
Sir. So the whole semester will be offline, right? Only this week online?
I think still online, When I read the scenario, we talk about scenario, scenario given by our department for this course, I think still online. I don't know about the lab work, You can ask your assistant, in that laboratory upon the lab work, after the exam. But for the theory, I think still online.
Oh, I see. So also the exam will be online.
Okay.
Also, the midterm exam will be online or offline?
Yes. I think you prefer online exam, right?
Yes, preferable.
Preferable,
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Any question again, student? No question? Can we continue?
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. Let's continue for the introduction. Let's talk about system thinking now. Okay, for the introduction, integrated system has system complexity. Again, as industrial engineer, we cannot consider partial system. No, we try to consider integrated system. Why? Because we want to have global optimum solution. So, for example, system complexity, quantity of information required to describe something. If we talk about system complexity, then we talk about the quantity of information required to describe something. It means that the more we consider the input, the solution will be better. For example, at the beginning, industrial revolution is because of higher needs of product due to increase of population size. But after that, it becomes more complicated. Why? Because the people already talk about standard quality, upon the product customization, and so on. So the issue is not only about the population size, only that. No, After that, we need to consider about the standard quality and also the product customization. So if we try to consider another factors, let's say here, we have another 2 factors, standard quality and also the product customization, then when we try to define the product quantity, it will be more complicated. Like that, And complex system requires system thinking, for effective problem solving. Why? Because, when we just consider partial part of system, then sometimes the solution creates another problem. So if like that, then it will be no point, After we try to analyze the system, but the system is just partial, after we propose some solution, then the solution will create another problem. We don't want it. So without system thinking, a solution could create this one, other problems, or could not give a global or best solution for the system under consideration. Okay, student. And then, for example, system thinking. Consider following example. A manufacturing system, now the output is 50. So here we can note output of the system is 50. When the total cost to run this production system is, let's say, 500,000, then if we want to reduce the cost per unit, then here we can try to calculate the existing cost per unit first. How to calculate? This is very simple. We have a total cost and we have output, so we can try to divide the total cost with the output. We can get the cost per unit. Yeah. So in this example, the cost per unit will be 10,000. Okay, so that, and after that, yeah, if we want to reduce the total cost per unit, then the idea is, yeah, we can increase the output. If we can increase the output, then 500,000 divided by a bigger value, then we will have lower result, right? So we can reduce the cost per unit. If like that, is it the best solution? We can try to analyze. Yeah, let's say we try to double, yeah, the output become 100. Then, of course, yeah, mathematically we can calculate the cost per unit will be 5,000, half of the existing cost. But the question is increasing the output to 100 is the best solution? And not always. Yeah, why? Okay, when we consider another input, let's say the demand, yeah, for example, the demand is only 50 units, then increasing output will create another problem. What's the problem? The problem is the inventory. Yeah, the demand is only 50. We try to increase the output become 100. So yes, yeah, mathematically we can decrease, yeah, we can reduce the cost per unit. But after that, we need to hold, yeah, another 50 units. You can imagine we have 100 outputs, and from that 100, we just use 50 units, yeah, to fulfill the demand. If like that, we still need to hold another 50 units. And this unit cost as inventory, and inventory requires cost. In one side, we can reduce the cost per unit. In another side, we have higher inventory cost. It means that increasing the output will be not the best solution, yeah, not the best solution for our system. Okay, so it called as solution without system thinking. Yeah, so if we want to have, yeah, best solution or optimum solution, we need to consider upon the real demand as well. Yeah, before we decide to increase the output, we need to consider the demand as well. When we realize the demand is only 50, but we already decide, yeah, to increase the output, yeah, become 100, then we can ask, yeah, we can encourage, yeah, the marketing department to increase the sales, if like that. So the solution will be increasing the output plus encouraging the marketing department to increase the sales. That will be the system thinking solution. Yeah, it means that we have integrated, yeah, we have integrated solution, yeah, to improve our system, like that. Okay, student, another example of system thinking. Okay, for example, we are here in point A. We want to go to point D. Okay, if we just see partially this problem, then we just need to compare from A to B or from A to C, because there are two alternatives. Yeah, we can go to B or we can go to C. Yeah, if we never use system thinking, then of course, yeah, we will use the shorter distance. So we need to go to B. But after that, yeah, we need to go to D with this one, yeah, longer distance. Compared to if we go to C or then we go to D. Yeah. So without system thinking, we will go to B. Why? Because B is nearer than C. Yeah, from A, I mean. Yeah, but after that, B is, yeah, more far than C, yeah, from D. So using system thinking, yeah, we don't want to consider just the distance from A to B and from A to C only. No, we also need to consider, yeah, the distance from B to D and from C to D as well. And after that, we choose the shorter distance. Yeah, that's a solution with system thinking. Now you understand, yeah, how important system thinking is. As industrial engineer, you need to consider, yeah, as much as input, you know, of the system in order to provide, in order to suggest the best solution. Yeah, system thinking based solution that will be the best solution for the system under consideration, like that. Okay, student. Now let's talk about the decision-making process in systemic thinking. There are three phases, yeah, three processes, three steps in systemic thinking. The first is intelligence phase. In this phase, we try to understand our system. Yeah, we cannot just go to the system without a deep understanding. After that, we model the system. Cannot be like that. Yeah, before we model it, we need to understand our system. Why? Based on that understanding, yeah, we can try to identify the importance input, yeah, of the system. Yes, we cannot. It is impossible for us to consider all of the input. Yes, I agree with you. Yeah, but yeah, we can try to consider not only one or two inputs. Yeah, we can try to consider the significant input to the system. We can neglect. Yeah, we can neglect the minor input. Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, but we cannot just use one or two inputs. If like that, we will have partial solution. Yeah, and you already know about the disadvantage or partial solution. So from in this phase, we try to understand. Yeah, we try to understand in deep about the system under consideration. Yeah, and also this one. Yeah, not only to identify the input, we can try to identify the effect. Yeah, the major effect of the input, yeah, to the output. Yeah, if we try to change this input, what is the effect to the output? What is the effect to the other input, like that? Yeah. So yeah, after we can identify the inputs and also their effect, then we can try to develop the simulation based on system thinking. Yeah, that's for the first phase. Yeah, in the first phase, yeah, it's very important. Yeah, we try to understand our system first. After that, we go to the next phase called as design phase. In this phase, yeah, we can try to find, develop, and analyze action alternatives. See? Not only one solution alternatives. Yeah. Previously, I already explained you. Yeah. In simulation, we can have more than one scenario. We can have more than one design to improve our existing system. Yeah. That's called as solution alternatives or scenario. Yeah. In order to have a systemic solution, we need to have not only one solution, but more than one. Yeah. More than one solution alternatives. So we can compare. You can compare. Okay, let's say, we limit to three designs. Yes, no problem. Yeah, after that, you can try to improve the system based on your understanding. After you model the system, after you run the simulation, now you can try to analyze. After that, you can develop another three or maybe two, another two systems. After that, you can simulate, then you choose the best one. It will be the better solution for the system under consideration, like that. And the last phase will be the choice phase. Yeah, after we develop the solution alternative, we run it, then we find or we choose the best design, analyze the solution alternative, and choose the best one. Yeah, so that's the objective of the last phase. Yeah? So we can conclude, if we want to have system thinking solution, we need to have these three phases. Yeah, the first phase is about the system understanding. And the second is for the system design. Yeah, we need to have more than one solution alternatives, or we need to have more than one scenarios in order to improve our system. And the last is we need to choose. Yeah, we need to choose the best design. Yeah, after we consider several input. Yeah, like that. Okay, student. Now, if we try to represent it, using diagram, to be like that. Yeah, this is the real system. Yeah, from the real system, we can try to simplify the real system. Again, the objective of system modeling is not only to model the system. No, yeah, we also need to simplify the real system. We also need to simplify the process in the real system. Yeah, because if we try to consider the real process in the real system, it will be very complicated. If like that, the model will be very complicated model as well. Then the next challenge is how to solve it. Yeah, if the model is very complicated, then the challenge is how to solve the model. If we cannot solve the model, or it is very hard for us to solve the model, we cannot say that the model is good. Yeah, the good model is simple model, but represent the real system. So here we need to have a step called a simplification. In order to simplify the system, of course, we need to understand the system first. Yeah, if we just try to simplify the system without good understanding, then the model will be invalid. Yeah, that's the problem. The simulation model will be invalid. In order to have a valid system, in order to have valid model, both simulation or mathematical model, then we need to have good understanding for system. Then we need to simplify the system process. How to simplify? Yeah, we can incorporate some assumptions. Yeah, why we need to assume? Yeah, because sometimes we we can neglect the variation of the system if the variation is very small. For example, let's talk about demand. After we observe the real demand is not exactly flat. For example, the demand is varying, but the variation is very small. Let's say 9, 11, 10, 9 again, 11 again, 10 again, 10 again, 11, 10 again, 9, and so on. If like that, yes, the demand is varying, but the variation is very small. So we can neglect it. We can neglect this variation because very small. So we assume the demand is constant, like that. In the intelligent phase, we try to identify the objective. What is the objective of analysis? After that, method to collect the data. We need to define as well the method to collect the data. If we cannot measure, we cannot get the data directly, then we can use interview, for example. And we don't want to connect interview if we can measure in the field directly, like that. So we need to define the suitable method to collect the data. And after that, we can conduct data collection. And after that, we can continue with identifying the problem, the real problem occurred in the system. And this is very important, student. When you write thesis, don't forget. When you write thesis, don't forget. In the background, in the chapter 1, you need to highlight the problem occurred in the system. This is common mistake. Common mistake when I analyze thesis of student. Students try to analyze system without clear identification of the problem. This is problem, and this is problem. Like that. So here we need to identify the problem occurred in the system, and after that, problem ownership. We need to know the stakeholder, the stakeholder that own the problem. Why? Because at the end, we need to satisfy the stakeholder. For example, let's say talk about the product flexibility. For example, if the owner of the problem is customer, we need to understand about the customer aspiration. Customer wants the product can be fully custom. If like that, then the objective is not to minimize the cost. No. Even though minimizing the cost is very good, but minimizing the cost sometimes reduce the flexibility. Now the objective is to increase the flexibility. Sometimes the cost can be higher. It's okay, no problem, because the key performance indicator is not to reduce the cost, but to increase the flexibility. That's the importance of understanding the problem ownership. The problem owner. We need to know the owner of the problem, because after that we need to identify. We need to understand about the aspiration of the owner. After that, after we know the stakeholder of the problem, stakeholder of the system, then we can formulate the problem clearly. Because after that we need to solve the problem. Okay, student. Now we go. After we can identify the problem formulation, we can go to the design phase. Based on the problem formulation, we can model the formulation. We can determine the selection criteria. After that, we can try to design the solution alternative. Then we can measure the result of every solution alternative. Okay, and after that, we need to validate our model first. Before we continue to the last phase, we need to validate our model first. So here we know this is the closed loop. Closed loop. After we conduct intelligent phase, then we try to design some solution alternative. Then after that, if we found our model is not valid or invalid, then we can repeat again the first phase, which is intelligent phase. Maybe we neglect some important input. If like that, then we can try to reincorporate the important inputs. So this one will be closed loop. Closed loop. And after that, after we make sure that the model is valid, then we can go to the last phase, which is design. Not design, sorry, I made a mistake here. Not design, but the last will be what? The choice phase. The choice phase. Sorry, I made a mistake here. The choice phase. In the choice phase, we know the solution for the models and also the sensitivity analysis. Yes, we can conduct this. We can conduct this one. We choose the solution if the condition is like this, and like this. But when the condition is changed until this level, we need to re-evaluate our decision like that. It's called as sensitivity analysis. Yeah. For example, in terms of the product flexibility, yeah, we can keep the flexibility when, yeah, the number of customer is 10, for example. If the number of customer is 9, how? We still don't need to reanalyze, yeah, our decision. But if the number of customer is decreased, yeah, to 8 or below 8, then we need to reanalyze our decision. Okay. It's called as sensitivity analysis. The condition when we must change, yeah, when we must reanalyze our solution. Alternative selection, yeah, for that we can try to analyze, we can try to select, yeah, the best alternative, then we can try to implement it, yeah. Then when we implement, here we need to have verification and solution testing, yeah. After that we need to verify whether the solution is implementable or no. If not, then here we also have, yeah, closed loop again. Yeah, we can start with the intelligent phase again. We continue to design phase again. After that, we choose the alternative like that. Yeah, but the solution implementation. If failure, then we can go back here again. Then, yeah, it will be in the another closed loop. Yeah, if we can implement, but yeah, the solution is invisible, then we can, yeah, use this first closed loop. But when we implement, then we failure. We cannot implement our solution, then we can have this second closed loop. So there are two closed loops, yeah, in the system thinking. We can implement our solution, but the solution is invalid, or we cannot implement our solution. Yeah, okay, so then before we continue, is there any question, please? Still clear, yeah? Okay.
Clear, sir.
Oh, yes, clear. Okay, thank you. And this is the position of us, yeah, the position of us as industrial engineer, yeah, way of thinking. I start from here, integrated system, yeah. From the integrated system, we try to identify the problem, yeah. And as industrial engineer, we need to consider the criteria, yeah, to decide, to make decision, yeah. After we make decision, of course, yeah, we need to have action formulation to be implemented on the real system. Yeah. So, yeah, before we make decision, we also need to consider this one, solution alternatives. Yeah. So here, yeah, how to have this? Yeah, we need to develop the models. In this course, yeah, in terms of this course, yeah, this model will be the simulation model. Yeah. So, industrial engineer can develop simulation model to have solution alternative. Then it will affect to our decision making. Yeah. After we make decision, then we need to formulate the action to be implemented into the real system. And also, when we model, don't forget to consider the integrated system. Yeah. Why? Because we need to validate our model. Yeah. After we can make sure the model is valid, then we can, yeah, continue the process like that. Okay, sudah. And also, this is the characteristic of systemic thinking. Yeah. For the problem, the characteristic is real problem. Explanation based on facts and data, not based on assumption. See? Yeah. So if we want to have a systemic solution, yeah, then we need to go, yeah, to the real system and we collect the real fact and data. Yeah, not based on our assumption. In research methodology, yeah, we have data called as hypothetical data. What is that? Hypothetical data is actually just this is assumption. Yeah, we can assume the data, but our assumption will be not very far from the real data. How to have hypothetical data? For example, like this. It is very hard to calculate, yeah, the production cost of the product. Yeah, we can identify the selling price of this product. Yes, this is very easy. Yeah, we just need to go to the shop. After that, we can identify. We can identify the selling price of the product. After that, we can try to estimate the profit expected by the company. Yeah, let's say the profit expected by the company is 20%. So, in order to calculate the production cost, we can subtract, yeah, the selling price with the expected profit. Then we can get the production cost. Yeah, this one called as hypothetical data. we can assume the production cost, using that process. We can try to extract the selling price with expected profit, in order to get the production cost. If we try to calculate the production cost from the process, it is very hard. So in this situation, we can use hypothetical data. Assumption, but the assumption will be not verified from the real data, like that. Approach will be systemic, and integrated and not partial. Integrated system, not just partial system. The model is valid, fits the real system, and the solution will be feasible and optimum, in the system scope. After we identify the system, we cannot consider very complicated system, cannot be like that as well. We need to limit, we need to bordering our system before we conduct analysis. But after we bordering our system, then we need to consider as much as possible the major, the significant input, and also the effect of the input to the output, and also to the other input. And then, after that, we can try to get the solution, and the solution will be in the system scope. And the characteristic will be feasible and optimal. Decision will be effective and fits the objective function, the objective of the analysis, and the action will be real and efficient, able to be implemented with low cost. Not only implementable, no. Not only we able to implement it, we able to implement it, no. We can implement with low cost. That's the meaning of this one, real and efficient, for the action. Okay, sudah. And this is the reference, that's for just for introduction, for system thinking. And if you want to go in deep for system thinking, then you can try to have this two reference, and you can read by yourself. Okay, that's all for the theory today. Is there any question, please, before we terminate our class?